well. I think the thing about it is Exceed have also found good success on this map. So when it comes down to the advantage that we talk about for Karmine Corp, they may not be as advantageous on this map as it may be on a map like Chalet. I think the big thing, though, for me is that extra confidence we hear from Exceed. We also have heard in their comms, in their listenings, when things start to go wrong, they start to lose composure immensely quick. So it'll be curious to see if Karmine Corp can turn up the heat just a little bit there to kick us off.
Almost the opposite of what you heard in XSET's listenings, where they were all building each other up, saying, you're the guy, you're the man. However, we need to see that maybe from both of these squads if they're going to make it into the grand finals. It's going to be Exceed on the red side, KC on the blue side, Panther CTF to kick off our semi-finals here. And what a championship Sunday we have in store for you. $1 million on the line. It all begins right here.
I'm loving it. And just to kind of go back to it, like you talked about in that listening we had with Exceed, they literally, we heard, Peter, you need to lock in. He was losing complete full. So again, let's just see if that comes to play here. Relying a lot on that individual ability as we've seen throughout the entirety of the weekend. As we're going to get that standoff over towards the top side of the statue. Malibuka and Okas on one another's middle crosses. Murstach also here, and they're going to be, Exceed taking the first move. Malibuka is predicted. Swizzy following up, though. It's an easy double for him.
It's a good attempt, but a lot of damage was done by utility onto Milks, and KC knew that, and now KC will continue to move forward here. And now they can take a lot of space and start to think about how they want to break into this flag base to maybe get a pull.
Well, so far looking so good. Just comes down to, like you mentioned, that next wave eliminations. Peterbot low, and it's a 3v1 situation. Peter has been completely isolated out of the play. Milks, Okas playing in the backside of their spawn. Quanti also nearby as KC are trying to figure out where the next members are.
Exceed on the back foot slightly here, but just need one good defensive hold. But Quanti taking that amount of damage now will allow everyone to start to press up even more. They are surrounding Exceed here.
Yeah, and Malibuka's got some information here. I'm just wondering at what point does he throw out the clinger and try to gain a bit of an angle, because on the other side, Peterbot coming off a spawn, the dynamite lands nicely as he finishes off Malibuka, and that will completely restrict KC's ability to make a play for the flag. Follow-up eliminations also good for Exceed's defense.
Wow, this is a very slow start to this game. KC bided their time, but do not find anything really because of it. Even with Peter going down there, it should still allow a solid hold for Exceed. But KC still getting the better of the engagements in the middle of the map, and they still are pressuring this base.
Yeah, Swizzy has not fallen yet. Of course, we start to talk about it, and the caster curse comes through, so he has a 6-1 start. Exceed able to wiggle their way back in towards mid-map. Verstappen still in their way, and he's been seen. Backs off the angle just a touch to play safe, as he will be the first one up really for defense here in the backside of the KC base.
Well, Exceed now are starting to get a little bit more map to play with. All four of them approaching the middle of the map here, looking to try and hit this right-hand side and maybe take down the initial fight against Swizzy. And if you do win that, then you're going to be in a 4 versus 3, but there has been shields lost, so you do have to be careful, and maybe Okas has to accept that he might be the bait here.
And I think for KC, you kind of look at the minimap really quickly in the bottom right. Anas is actually in a spot to where if KC have gotten a read on all 4 members, he may be able to just dart right through the Exceed setup and at least get a counter pull if things go poorly here.
Well, Okas has gone down, so now KC do have the extra player, and as you mentioned, you could see on the minimap, well, you could see on the minimap that Anas is moving down on that side as Peterbot also falls, and this is going to be a big push here.
Yeah. Quanti mid-map, though, still holding on. Does take down the immediate threat of Anas, but the rest of KC regain the middle of the map. 2 minutes at the clock here for our first round. Again, remember, we will swap the sides at the halfway point, and if we did extra innings, which this one's currently giving us vibes that we very well may, it'll just go an extra overtime round. So we'll see how things unfold as KC now in their second attack.
It is worth noting, whilst it's still quite slow at the moment, it certainly will pick up pace towards the latter stages of the next round, although being the first team to capture a flag will give you that advantage if you go into overtime tied. If you go into overtime tied without any flags and still no one's able to get any sort of flag capture on the board, it then goes down to how many eliminations you've been able to grab. So that's another thing these players need to keep in the back of their mind.
Well, KC have a bit of a health pool advantage if they do push through this middle position. Milks has been tagged down to terminal HP. Still alive for the time being. Quanti, no shields, trying to follow up and assist wherever humanly possible, but as Milks will drop now, Quanti's under pressure. Good follow-up. He's able to get the full siphon thanks to the assault classification. Almost doesn't finish his food, but does still find the final bullet needed to take care of Swizzy. And once again, we reset. KC have to hold off for a moment.
Yeah, it's another successful defensive approach from Exceed. They're just waiting for KC to kind of walk in front of their crosshairs here. And say, we don't really need to be the aggressors. Maybe we feel like we can get this done in the second round, but now you can see openers are available and 2 eliminations in the feed. As Milk's looking to try and join the rest of the team. Peterbot's under a little bit of duress.
Yeah, they know Swizzy's up top over towards the statue, and obviously Swizzy realized that his position is pretty vulnerable. We'll throw down the self bubble just to try to hold on a little while longer. Milk's trying to get the opener, and wow, that was very well coordinated by Exceed. But Verstache scoping at range, able to at least trade one back, and Nas follows up, and still, neither one of our teams able to even break fringe towards the capture.
And Nas has got an opener, though, on that right side, on the northern side of the map, and he's going to actually have a 1v1 versus Milks here to maybe try and go for a flagpole, but I think Exceed off the spawn should be able to stop him.
Yeah, Peterbot's a little bit further forward. He could play off of a crossing angle if he gets a read. Instead, he's very worried about the KC push from the front. Really good trigger discipline, but he misses the opening snipe. Now tracking back with Swizzy, but Okus Milks, they find every single elimination needed. Only one more to grab, and that's Malabuka. Easy return should be through here, and we're going to exit the first round dead nil between the two teams.
Well, it was slow, it was methodical, but it was Exceed on the back foot for the most part in terms of map control, and maybe that's something that KC can take away of this. If they can get that one break, if they can get that one pull, it might just be enough to take this first map, but it certainly is difficult to split the two. No one's standing out as an individual right now, and I think that's one of the key takeaways from the first round. No one's been brave enough to make those individual plays.
I mean, really, the only time you can really even point to somebody was Swizzy started off 6-0, but all of those were kind of support eliminations through the middle map while they were fighting for control of mid. So, like you mentioned, no real influence of one person onto the OBJ. Nades over the top actually do land on towards Merstache, so he'll lose his shields. Snipes some tags coming through, good clinger. That will gain some control of the hedge line, but Merstache is still holding on firmly. Now Dynamite of his own towards Okus.
Look how they don't get desperate here, KC. They get the opener, but they don't just want to run out and then potentially walk into a trap that's maybe being laid by Exceed. So they are continuing to play it slow, continuing to try and take a little bit more of the map before they start to think about pushing towards that base. But Exceed is saying, all right, we're going to just play the same game here. Yeah. Maybe we get a couple of eliminations, and that might open up our chance to take map control.
They're just playing the long game at this point. Now, we don't necessarily know who holds the current advantage, but if this ends 0-0 through round 2 and the overtime, the tiebreaker is who has the most total eliminations. So we'll try to do some math here for you guys, but there's one thing you should know. Caster math is not what I would call SAT worthy. So we'll see exactly what happens here as we still are battling for position through mid.
It's such a different game, isn't it, to what we saw last night with Xset on Panther CTF. The speed of which we saw Xset just marauding their way around the map and absolutely dominating anyone that got in their way. I don't even think that's a word, but I think it might be now.
We've been breaking up words all day.
It's okay.
Yeah. I've got Merriam-Webster on my speed dial, so don't worry about it. I have no idea what to say right now. This is literally no one wants to make the first move. It's absolutely crazy. And I think the thing about it is, like, what we see from teams like Xset, who have really kind of set the tone in terms of, utilizing the modes correctly, is they get damage off of their utility and then they push and they try to isolate somebody and force the action to happen. That's not the case with these two squads. A couple of nades have landed on both sides, but no one really feeling too frisky to force a fight.
One thing that the players do know is they will have the ability to see how many eliminations they have, and they will know who is ahead. We don't have that information. I will try and work it out as we go to each POV. As now finally you are going to see a little bit of an explosion of movement as there's going to be openers from Exceed and KC all get one each as Peterbot starts to approach the enemy base here.
Okus is the only one to drop. He's coming off spawn right through mid now. Pusher Exceed through the bottom side of the map by Pool in the Lambo area. That's not fully going to work out as Swizzy finds at least one counteractive trade. Anas also trying to follow up onto mid. He will find Okus off the respawn. So now KC have the numbers advantage, and here we go. Peter dealt with. Milk's the only one left alive, and they know where he's at. Bubble comes down. Verstache not able to find the challenge immediately because off spawn, Exceed are trying to work back over towards the middle of the map, but they are under pressure. Prime time to jump into it. Exceed listening to see how the comms feel.
He's pushing, he's on flag. Or he's crouching.
Yeah, he's
crouching on bar.
Someone?
98 Y sniper.
Let me know if you see him bar.
There's two team me, I think. No, I'm good. I can dynamite. There's gonna be one close here.
Someone play that played here or something? I'm holding the right hand.
Okay. They're pushing Peter. Under got one.
I'm
with you, Peter. I'm with you, Peter. Let's go, let's go.
Yeah, you guys push. I'll play flag. I'll play flag. Y'all play together. Y'all play together.
28 Y on him, Peter. 28 Y on him. But you didn't kill him? Oh, I thought you killed him. Why didn't you just swing him? Like, it's one kid.
I'm going there.
I was 1 HP.
I got sniped. They're coming
Yeah,
flash.
I did it, kill one.
Nice.
I'm going there.
One
I'm going there.
speed. One speed.
Well, moments of anticipation and anxiety coming through, but Exceed have dealt with it. In Quanti, you kind of heard the call from Peter, like, I thought you were going to get him. And instead, you've got him now making a route to possibly play for a bit of a pull. And that may be enough space for him to get out safely. The question is, can Karmine Corp find a way to counteract this to get the counter pull before Exceed can score?
It's a lot of damage he's taken, but it looks like might be able to get home dry here. This is just going to be a dash attempt. No, he's not going to attempt it. He knows KC are here, and all three members actually of KC are going to push this one, but they still have a chance for the flag.
Flag is still down, but it's in a safe position for now. KC need to find a way to recover. Exceed still battling. Okus around the back has done well to get one. Peter now the one holding onto the flag. Should be clear to grab the capture. Swizzy tried for the counter pull, but that will be returned, and Exceed will score first.
Just like that, and it's with 44 seconds left as well. So we just took one moment of one player brave enough to push into the base and get that flag on the move. And now you've got 35 seconds for KC to try and get a cap of their own.
Moving quickly over towards this top cafe side. Peter taking a lot of damage, but Okus has found a double to keep things nice and safe for Exceed's defense. Peter now looking for the snipe on Mustach, who's got an opportunity to possibly pull, but he does not have a lot of health. And the overwhelming force of Exceed's defense is starting to contest, and they will find the elimination. Last attempt starting to come through. Swizzy, Anas, the closest ones forward, but the time doesn't feel good, Dan. I think Exceed may have done enough.
And you start to hear the beeping. The time is starting to get deleted. It's going to be 5 seconds. Not enough time for KC to get a flag on the board. And Exceed are going to take the first map here, 1-0 in what was a game of patience. I was trying to do the quick math. I'm trying to work out who had the most eliminations, and I'm fairly certain Exceed did have the most eliminations throughout the majority, and that was probably their thought process of, we don't really need to push this one, because right now, if they are happy to play this waiting game, we technically have the advantage going into overtime, so let's just see if they'll make a move, make the mistake, and then we take advantage of that.
I think the other thing about, CTF on Panther compared to Chalet is that as soon as something starts to go a bit awry, the ability to counter cap and the speed at which you can get to the other side of the map is so fast that one small mistake could be the difference maker of you finding successful capture and pull versus your opponents dealing with it defensively and then immediately responding with a counterattack of their own. So again, the margin of error feels very small, at least in terms of what our teams want to allow, in terms of their risk versus reward factor. And it is a kind of a last-second move that Exceed's able to find a little bit of damage, turns into a couple of key eliminations, and eventually the pull that solves out who ends up taking map number 1.
I have a real-life example to compare this to.
Oh, please go.
Me and Levin playing table tennis last night, a bit of ping pong, right? Levin just wants to win the game. Constant attack coming at me. I'm just putting it safely back on the other side of the table over and over again until he makes that mistake, and then bam! I get the counter cap. That's basically what happened with me and Levin in table tennis, and that's pretty much what happened with these two teams here on Panther.
Well, was this caliber of game Olympic caliber, or is it?
I'd say so. Yeah.
You would say so.
Actually, with the Olympic Games going on right now, it's a wonder why I'm here, because I could have been there.
Well, between that and maybe representing Australia in the breakdancing competition, one of the two would, I'm sure, be more than enough for you. But all it takes is one here for Exceed to get them kicked off on the right foot. And again, just to kind of frame it up, this is the one mode that Exceed we have seen vulnerabilities from. Now, I will say, just over the course of their playoff run, they have been perfect when it comes to CTF. So they're making the right moves happen in terms of improving their gameplay, but it just comes down to, is it enough? Because this Karmine core squad is still very strong. They're flawless in Hardpoint. Yeah, sure, one loss for Exceed in Hardpoint, but it was by 1 point. So I don't know. I don't know if that's enough.
I mean, I think the good thing for Exceed is they've been able to turn that 0 into a 1 on the other side.
Sure.
Right? We were talking about the unbeaten run that KC have had on CTF so far. With that now disappearing, you've got a lot of confidence going into the rest of these maps and modes if you are on the Exceed side.
Well, the Karmine Corp fan base currently still winning the predictions for STC play, 60% to 40%, but the opener going the way of Exceed does kind of create a new pathway through this series layout, because again, the Keeper is really, I think, where this series is made or broken for Karmine Corp. If you could split the difference, find one of the two, I think that's more than enough. Making sure that you're still staying good in CTF, and then you figure you win your hardpoint pick, maybe they win theirs. This definitely has the premise of possibly going all the way the distance of 7, but I think it all fringes upon what we see in the Keeper, and maybe now even more so, can Karmine Corp turn up a map number 2 and immediately respond to the hardpoint presence that Exceed often puts on.
Yeah, I think that Exceed are the only other team we've really seen that might be able to contest Exit on Keeper when and if they were to get there. But we still need to get to map 3 before that happens. Instead, we are going back into Panther. But this time, it's for Hardpoint. It is going to be KC on the red side, so maybe a slight advantage there, depending on how you look at Hardpoint. And Exceed are going to be on the blue side. I'm excited for this one, because I think that the CTF was a very slow game, all right? Let's not beat around the bush. Both teams were more than happy to wait, be patient, see if the other team makes mistakes. You cannot afford to be slow on Hardpoint.
And I think the thing, too, is as much as we've seen a lot of Panther Hardpoint over the last 2 months, we saw for maybe the first time ever a team who was able to build out a appropriate defensive setup and then also have good fundamental understanding of how you attack and break hills. And that came by way of X-Set last night. So how much of that will be replicated here by KC and Exceed? Only time will tell. Like you mentioned, it'll be KC in the red, Exceed in the blue as we dive on in towards hill number 1.
I'd like to say I hope they were all doing their research last night, but I played Mustache at table tennis as well last night, so I know for well he was down in the player lounges. Anyway, we are going to kick things off, and it's going to be KC who get the initial hill, and will have their first chance at holding this one. But Exceed looking to break, but with Peterbot falling alongside Quanti, KC should get good time here. It's 3 back-to-back eliminations.
Yeah, really good start from the side of Karmine Corp. And more importantly, having this high ground means that they get the early information and maybe a chance to just overwhelm Exceed as they try to make a move over towards P2. Still a long time before we have to do that. This has so far been pretty darn perfect for Karmine, but Exceed find a way off the fresh respawn to get the immediate counteraction, and now they're in the hill.
That's an insane break from Exceed, if you think about it, considering KC had so much control and got those initial eliminations on the board. But I guess the downside was they had taken a lot of damage to their shield, so Exceed were confident to be able to push in, but now can Exceed hold a little bit more strong than what KC were able to do? Because if they can overtake them going into P2, they're in a very comfortable position.
8 seconds of scrap time. That new hill will go over towards Peterbot's location on the minimap, which is on the bottom right at that pink canopy. Anas trying to find a way to finesse through the old time. Him and Swizzy working nicely to find a couple of the key eliminations, and that will leave really just Meelks by himself on the forward side of this play. And as he's dealt with, now Peter gonna have to hit a couple of shots. And I won't lie, we haven't really seen Peter hit yet. He has missed a handful of snipes, and that's enough for KC to overwhelm, get on in, and at least contest some of the early time.
But that's a worrying sign for KC, if I had to put it lightly, because if Peterbot is missing a couple of shots and Exceed are still winning, what happens when Peterbot starts to play at his very best? That's what we know he's capable of, right? He can really change the game as the EMP does come through, bubble goes down, and Peterbot is able to get an elimination because of it.
Yeah, 3 straight eliminations. Okus now going to try to bump the hard point, as we often call it, play in front of it, see if you can make a mess of the setup before the next break attempt to come through for KC, which would only be for about 15 seconds of time. But Malabuka, Mustache do well to find the first couple. Bouncing the dynamite in, Quanti cannot stay alive through that, but all things told, still Exceed getting the majority of the scrap time, an 80-34 score, but we rotate over to what KC will know as their favorite hard point here at Lambeau.
Yeah, KC moved very quickly over towards it, and that's going to be the initial one. This is arguably the easiest hill to defend out of the bunch, so if Exceed can break, then that will really bode well for the rest of this game. But right now, they've lost 2. It looks like they're going to lose another. It could be all 4 of them falling here, which it will. So it is a clean hold from KC, and now Exceed need to reconsider how they want to approach this.
Now, again, shoes on the other foot there. Exceed was trying to break with no shields. Now, all of a sudden, they are fully healthy with full utility. Malabuka, great for the opener. Swizzy has not given up this position over towards the side patio stairs, and with that, Karmine Corp save off another hit, and a perfect time to see how the comms listen for Karmine Corp.
I'm fighting it. They're going inside. 110, 110.
My man close.
Catch sniper, 110 another one.
Nice fight.
No, go next.
Dead.
I'm capturing this.
Go. One is already on next. I think one.
He pulled behind. I got sniped. One palm.
110 on one.
They're pushing backside.
Yeah, IMP.
I'm coming to you.
I'm dead. Two palm on mid.
Backside, two backside. Nice.
One is mid.
Nice.
One more.
You're alone.
Third white. Nice. Let's go.
Can you capture?
He's close.
He's fighting me. Cracked him. 30 white. On point.
I bubble.
Crack him.
Capture.
110.
I got the MP.
I got sniped. There is.
Dead.
Three
Nice.
side.
Three side.
One more on point.
Okay, just wait.
It's sniper.
Well, you heard it. Karmine Corp saying, I got this old time. Go ahead and rotate to new, but Exceed are a little bit more contest heavy here on the 4th hardpoint. They've done very well from the front, still earning time in. You mentioned it, Peterbot hadn't been hitting yet, but now he's starting to wake up a touch.
Yeah, I just saw a headshot in the kill feed, and it's just one of those that can really change things in the way in favor of Exceed, as Quanti now joins the rest of the crew, but now needs to try and do something with these two remaining, and that is great use of what you have as cover here at P4.
15 seconds of scrap time. Exceed, this will be their final approach. Okus does well for the first. Mersac fully healthy, pushes him away. And now all of a sudden, take a look towards the minimap. You've got Exceed rotating top right-hand side towards this fire pit. KC spawning down low towards Lambo. Have to make the move across mid-map before they can even think about breaking this hill. And they're trying for the full wrap here. They're trying to hit from the pinch.
Yeah, they are very much trying to wrap. Milks is going to be the first one to fall, most likely, and will. So now it is going to be a 4 versus 3 with this push.
Anas around the back. He does well to catch 2, and how about it with the help of Swizzy? It's going to be 3 straight down. Peter playing the backside of the hill can really only do so much. And by that, I mean he has to wait for help. Dynamite cooking up. Fuse starting to get short, right towards Anas' direction. He takes a lot of damage. Bubble down. Exceed, still not able to break through this yet. And now Anas is off the regen. Not fully able to get his shields back. Elimination still looking decent though. The KC still fighting this. Peterbot gets overwhelmed. He just continues to not hit the key snipes he needs to. And Karmine Corp look good for the back 20.
This is great for KC as well in what should be a hill that really favors Exceed with their spawns. Peterbot taking a long route round the other side at the moment, by the way, to maybe try and get a little bit of mid-map control with 10 seconds only left before we do move back to P1. As Exceed do finally get the eliminations, they get on the board, they get the break, and now they are setting up towards P1 here.
And it may not feel like a large gap right now on the scoreboard because it's just 10 points, but if you were to take the spark notes of what happened in rotation number 1, we 50-50 P1, Exceed had a good job on P2. Karmine responded with a good job on P3. Sweat towards the 4th hill, but Karmine Corp better trying to break over towards the 5th. So the fact that we jump into hill number 1, it's a 50-50 4v4 battle that Mulks comes away with 3 with. This is key time right here, right now for Exceed.
Still worth knowing, we've yet to see KC lose a hard point so far in this tournament, but CTF was the same. And are we going to be able to see Exceed break that 0 once more here, as there's going to be another push into this hill, as Swizzy is desperately trying to hold and stay alive.
And Swizzy's been great for the side of KC to this point, especially here in this hard point. Peter, once again, in a little bit of trouble, but this time equal to the test that was Anas. Swizzy following up, able to confirm the trade. 12 seconds of scrap time. Dead high at the scoreboard, but KC, the ones that have to find a way to get some early interactions over towards P2, and the first one forward is going to be Mersac. He's fully healthy.
Yeah, Mustache already moving, but Peterbot was there just that step faster alongside Okus here, but maybe they don't know that Mustache is there. So this could be a nice surprise jump, and will get the initial damage.
Yeah, snipe hits. Mersac now moving around the back, trying to follow up on the damage. No utility for him to play with. Exceed know that he's here. Peterbot up and over, not able to find the first, but the response is decent. Quanti holding on, must be a 1v3 for him, but he runs out of ammunition. Anas, a little bit of time here. Bubble down. That comes from his teammate of Swizzy, I believe. And so Exceed now can only contest as Karmine get this thing still around a level game.
16 limbs for Anas. Could be more here if he gets the job done, but not able to do so, as now Exceed will get the openers, and Malibuka looking to try and find another. Does not. KC's still holding strong, but finally Quanti's able to push into this hill, and they should get some good time.
And I need to see someone from Exceed hit this mid-route pinch, because KC are still flooding for both sides at the same time. But Quanti, double from him. Malibuka trying to challenge the bubble. Quanti dancing with them. Good patience. Whoa! He snaps over to Swizzy.
Quanti.
What a play from Quanti! I mean, in the heat of the battle, he pops up over the bubble and snaps to find another elimination, and Exceed can try to challenge Lambo just as it opens up.
Back over to Lambo. Exceed are low on shield, so I wonder if they're just going to fully commit here, try and do as much damage as possible, and then get the reset for a full break. Just accept you're going to give away some time here. It's okay to sacrifice yourself and get those shields back off spawn.
Exceed never really found any sort of a break, nor even a contest on Lambo last time we were here. And a lot of it was because they were trying to focus on this mid-cut hit, which is what they're doing again. 30 seconds to fight for. Karmine Corp still very comfortable as Malibuka takes out another 2. Peterbot finds 1 trade, but he cannot challenge Anas on the hill yet.
Another reason why the red side is such an advantage, because of this hill in particular. You get so much time, sometimes 40, 50 seconds if you play it correctly. And KC now are going to have a big lead going into the next hill, which again is still favoring them on their spawns.
Huge 1v1 between Peterbot and Malibuka. Swizzy following up with Fields. Both players relatively low. Peter, though, able to snap, and how about it? 3 members for Exceed are going to get to the 4th hill first. The spawns will be closer for KC, though. Fully healthy, all 4 players hitting around the back.
And 4 players who are very weak on the side of Exceed. This should be a break, you would imagine, unless you see a moment of magic. It's not going to happen. Peterbot will at least get something on the board, which is going to benefit the team when they do spawn. And actually, Peterbot going huge there. That's going to be so good for them in their chances off spawn.
And KC are spawning all the way down towards Lambo. There's going to be a chance for Exceed to hit this from the front again. Quanti over the top corner. Good damage tally. Peterbot now here once again, but Anasis in their way. There's the trade. Succeed right back into the hill. 28 seconds to fight.
Quanti, by the way, has done a madness every single hill he's been involved in, sometimes just perfectly waiting around a corner as we're going to be close to a tied game here in this hill before we move to P5.
But all the fighting is happening in the middle of the map right now. Karmine Corp can't really fully establish control of the hill. Do they get the final tick if they hold every second? Hard to say, as Exceed are still in control of the hard point. Quanti and Peterbot have also backed over to P5 just in case it doesn't end here. KC able to get the challenge, but no one is going to get to the new hill, and Exceed will go up 2-0.
A valiant effort from KC, but again, just moments of individual talent that shine through from Exceed. It had to be that kind of 3 back-to-back eliminations from Peterbot when he was on his own
Yes.
at P4, just to do enough to stall the push from KC, to stall the setup from KC, and it allowed the rest of the Exceed team off of spawn to join him after that damage, and ultimately won them the game.
I think on top of that, Exceed very poor at being able to find any influence over towards Lambo, but their understanding of how to attack 4 was actually brilliant. They were playing kind of forward, up close and in towards where the KC spawn was, which actually moved the KC spawn all the way down towards Lambo. The surprising thing about it was, instead of KC taking the long route through the safe part of their spawn, they were trying to re-wrap around the back of the hill, and Exceed, spawning at mid, were always picking up their own cut. So that last effort for KC just felt a little bit lopsided because they're almost being too cute with how they're trying to get back to the hill.
And whilst Exceed gave up a lot of time on Lambo, I think they know how difficult it is to break that hill.
I agree.
And what they planned was just to try and contain KC at Lambo. Do enough damage, enough poke damage just to keep them there and make them think that you're going to be pushing, make them think you're going to be a threat. Send one player to their demise every now and then just to keep them. And then when you move and you set up, you break them at the perfect moment because they actually pushed in with only mere seconds left of that Lambo hill. And actually they got the final few seconds as they set up for the next. And it was a very impressive ending from Exceed as they now continue their dominance and find themselves 2-0 up in this series.
That's a massive win for Exceed. 2-0 up in this type of a series, especially with Keeper upcoming, feels like the series may already be over. Now, I don't want to, sing before or say the end before the fat lady sings in this instance, but I think that's job well done for Exceed. From the unfavored side, that's good stuff. From the CTF that they're not necessarily great at, and especially compared to what we've seen from KC, that's also great stuff. So, well, backup game plan. Peter, go kill more. That's page 1 of the playbook, and at the moment, that may be all they need, especially after that little 1v3 he showcased earlier.
I want to know what's the backup game plan, right? Is there anything further? Do you even need anything
Wait,
more
what's
than
the
that?
other side say? It says general game plan. Can we see it? Come on, coach. Wait, what? Oh, the cameraman tried. Good effort was made, but hey, again, that's that individual confidence coming through. Peter, go kill.
I mean, it worked, right? We were saying that, there was a couple of shots that had gone amiss from Peter, which isn't what we've been seeing so far this tournament. As soon as he does heat up, it's just a game changer.
Big time.
For this squad. And when we look at Exceed and their chances of taking this whole tournament, it's not all about Peter. Like, jokes aside, this whole team is so impactful and so important. But when you do have that one player on the marksman, if they pop off, it's such a game changer.
Absolutely the case. And on the other front, talking about KC, we've seen Swizzy's and Anas's name more than we've said Mustache Malabuka's, which has not been the case throughout the entirety of this tournament to this point. So in terms of not only having one player pop off, but also shutting down key components of the other squad, everything seems to be kind of trending in favor of Exceed at the moment. But you have to think for KC, the one mode that they're super focused on going into this matchup is coming up right here. This Keeper. Have they gotten into the lab, done the science, done the work, and are prepped up for this Exceed squad to be better at Keeper than they have been all weekend?
I'd like to think that they have been in the lab. I'd like to think they've been doing their research, doing their prep to try and shut down Exceed, but for all the strategy you might try and employ, you've got to stop that backup game plan from Exceed. You've got to shut down Peterbot from going off and 1v3ing you at times. It is going to be Keeper. It is a game mode where Exceed are unbeaten right now. The only other team that's able to do that so far this tournament is Xset. And it is certainly teeing up for what could be a mouth-watering exchange between those two sides if we were to get there in this tournament. But Exceed still have a little bit of a way to go. 2-0 up at the moment, but KC with a chance to come back into things.
Remember, if you're joining us here late into the Esports World Cup featuring Fortnite, Keeper, new mode, 3 total rounds if we need them. A key will spawn right in the middle. You control it. Every second you own it, you get a point. win condition is either have more points than your opponent by the time the time expires, or just hit the 150-point marker, rather, and that will get you a round win. Of course, best of 3 in the rounds is what we're looking for. So see who can find the edge. Again, history would say that this is Exceed feeling comfortable 2-0 up with a mode that they have yet to drop even a single round of Keeper to this point.
Let's Quanti on the Infiltrator, and it's Quanti in and out with the key as expected. Remember, a 25% speed boost when you are on that Infiltrator, and that will just allow you to get out of dodge and escape your enemies.
And again, you're going to see at a couple of moments when you have clean feeds like this, Exceed may pause for a moment to try to get a read on where KC are spawning up at. And at the moment, they've done a pretty solid job of reading it. Quanti will default to playing over towards bottom side at basement. Malabuka, shot doesn't fully hit, but he's got help nearby. But the help here from Exceed is not too terrible. Oak is trying to follow up behind us. Peter is right here, but the last word will be had by Murstach, who gets the key for KC.
Yeah, that was a shame for Exceed, as they wanted to try and just keep away from the rest of the squad. But actually, that's really good damage initially coming through. You really want that ideal setup where all 4 of you can be over towards basement and the surrounding areas, but it's tough to get there with the quick spawns, of course.
The other thing about this is the basement is just such an easy area to toss all your utility into. Lots of damage tally, but Anas not able to find the key carrier of Quanti. Oak is going to try to guard the rotation towards safety in the shops, and he's done well. Anas will drop. Follow up from Murstach, low HP, no worries there. Quanti gets another, and that's going to be enough for Exceed to hold the edge in the feed, and now hold the edge of the scoreboard up 50 points.
Quanti's so good at manipulating this map in his favor, just trying to find those cutoffs to avoid any sight lines, but also knowing where his teammates are spawning. That's a disgusting nade, by the way, just to try and lay a little bit of a trap, but sadly runs into Malabuka.
And Anas right there with it. Peterbot still hanging on, though. Shots are good. Oak is able to find the trade, but Malabuka has collected the key and largely got out of dodge. Peter able to cut him off through mid-map. No worries there, as Exceed will continue to score.
Oak is going to be the first point of contact here. Was hoping he could get the jump, and does manage to at least get the trade, which also gave so much information to the rest of the Exceed team.
Yeah, 1-for-1 there is more than enough from Oak's standpoint. Malabuka could get caught by Peterbot, who's now at full health on the engineer role. Again, keep in mind that as we start to see this Keeper mode come through for our top squads, they often drop the marksman in favor of having that infiltrator like you framed up earlier. Quanti not able to get through double doors. Swizzy able to follow up with the rest of KC, and this is now maybe a chance for KC to use some of the comeback mechanic. No, they actually don't have it at the moment. Still just 1 tick per second. So again, not great news here for Karmine Corp. They have to be perfect on this follow-up.
In an interview yesterday, Peterbot said he is the best burst SMG player in the game, so that's why he switches over to Engineer for this map and mode. And you've seen the advantages of having him on that class, because the amount of damage he outputs, the amount of eliminations he's able to get. As Quanti, by the way, only 4 elims, but has been doing a madness with his movement.
I mean, he's just the key carrier. That's all he's really looking for. He doesn't have to be the guy finding all the eliminations. It's just about, let me get the key, let me run around with it. And now you're dealing with a 70-plus point game with just 2 minutes on the clock. Now again, with a lead this big, Karmine Corp will get the double back mechanic with the comeback, but you're also running out of time here, because Exceed could just hold off and see the mathematical impossibility come to life for round number 1.
This is a good chance for KC. They can put a lot of time on the board here over towards basement. You can see Exceed are starting to push in and pressure, but Swizzy does have the chance to move towards teammates on the other side, but maybe that's going to be a little bit too late. No, it's going to be fine. Great openers from KC. It is good time. They are catching up here, and Exceed need to be aware of this.
Minute 30 on the clock. Malabuka able to recollect the key, but the deficit that was found for a moment now only has them earning 1 point per second. Still enough time on the clock, though, for them to get back into the lead. Good eliminations coming through as Malabuka continues to connect. Trying to find the final shot needed onto Mielks, but the help is on the way, and Mielks' patience is so darn good. Able to pick up the key, and that may be enough of a gap for Exceed to try to walk away with round 1.
No extra time gathered by it, and there is still a chance for KC here. Still 1 minute left on the clock, plenty of time, but Okis has been able to recover. So now KC, they've got, what, a 30-point gap and need to try and retrieve it. It's still doable, albeit unlikely.
Yes, the probabilities start to come through, especially with Mielks continuing to find elims through the middle of the map. KC, with a little bit of a closer spawn, though, may have a chance to pick up the key, and there is just enough time on the clock to possibly find a way to get back into this game. But again, it has to be absolutely perfect from here on out, and Exceed are already swarming. Eliminations, though, not there immediately. Karmine Corp still holding on.
Hold up. Still a chance. Quanti does get 1, though. That could be enough, but no. Anas also follows up. Exceed need 1 break here. KC are still scoring. This is looking a little bit dicey.
It's 20 seconds left. Swizzy in trouble, just trying to stay alive. Okus not able to find him initially, but Swizzy doesn't get the regen. Key down on the ground for now. Milks, big 1v2 moment. KC able to recover. 8 seconds on the clock. Do they get the final tick to take the lead at the end? I think they do. Now it's just down to can they hold the key for long enough? And oh my goodness, would they ever? A 134 to 133 comeback in round 1.
Do I need to say it again? Why are we going up by so much to give the comeback mechanic to the opposition team? It shouldn't happen. Don't give them that ticket back into the game. They're going to hop on that train, and they're going to take it to the final destination. That is the 3rd or 4th time I've seen it in this tournament, and I would not expect it from a team like Exceed. But maybe it's just something that goes over your head when you are dominating. You're thinking, we're just going to close this game out. Now Exceed, though, how will they respond as we're already jumping into this second round, and they have got the opening frags here?
Oh, and you can see KC are starting to vibe a little bit. Opening elims looking solid. Exceed holding the key for now. Quanti off spawn will make sure there's no further follow-up, at least not initially from Karmine Corp, but Merstach has done the job. Peterbot was the one who had the key initially. He's able to get this closer towards the KC side of the map. Okus dancing, and Okus is going to find not just 2, give him 3. Exceed now controlling the key.
How much is this going to annoy Exceed? That's what I want to know, right? Because if you do annoy them, if they start to really get in a position where they know they should have won that round, they may just play that extra step better, and some of those individuals might just start popping off. Quanti is just going to have another chance on this key to try and rotate away from everyone once more. And KC, they'll be delighted with that, though. What a response that is, because when your back's against the wall, regardless of the comeback mechanic, they actually showed great nerve to get back into that game.
Alabuka does take a snipe, but the damage he had dealt is easily followed up on, while the rest of KC, whoa, I was going to say pick up the key and then get to safety, but Milk has something else to say about it. Eventually maybe over challenge just a touch, but Quanti there to follow up is good, and Okus will find the final elim needed. So now we've got ourselves set up a little bit closer over towards the outside portion of basement, kind of down towards that cliff side. Quanti realizing, though, that there is a little bit of pressure, he'll back up more towards the safety of the basement itself.
KC will know that they can come back from the depths once more, so they're not going to be too concerned with this lead from Exceed right now, but they do need to start to reconsider their approach, because they have kind of run in a little bit aimlessly towards Exceed members and have got caught one by one, but Mustache will at least find the key holder, and they will stop this from being scored.
Yeah, Nas is also nearby as, okay, Malabuka. Merstach really coming to life here in the keeper. Merstach in trouble, though. Quanti able to surprise. Exceed now trying to surround the play from KC. Malabuka has gotten over towards cliffside, though, so the key is still very firmly in comfortable control for KC. Tough moment. What? How does he hit that? May not make too much of a difference. We're going to have a 1v1 for the key as Okus gets surprised. Merstach right there, and holy Hannah, is that a heck of a quick snipe.
Holy Hannah, I've never heard that expression before, but here we are. That's what happens when you get to see disgusting things. You hear new things come out of commentators' mouths. Now, Exceed are still ahead, but only just. They do have the key, though. Let's jump into a listening and see what's being said for Exceed.
What's your Guani? Don't even fight. Do not fight.
Go back left, go back left. Go back
no way
left.
I'm dead to that.
Okay, come back left.
Killed one. I brought in on 20 speed.
One speed.
One of them 20 speed.
84 cracked. Watch, play,
one of them
play
coming on
behind me, play behind me, play behind me.
Sorry.
In feed.
Cracked, 1 speed, nice. On you.
Bro.
Nice, okay, do that.
Last one. He knows for me.
Dead one.
Nice, good shit. All dead.
Get it.
Get the ball, guys. Get the ball, guys.
You guys, bro, what the fuck?
Run left here.
I have no sprint.
Okay, I have you. I'm dead.
Doing house.
Doing house. Drop it.
Don't go to under. Don't go to under. Nice. We're good.
Well, moment of panic there again. You can hear it Exceed. Where is it? Find the key, get the key. And all of a sudden, KC able to overwhelm off the spawn. Exceed trying to play recovery, but again, KC coming to life late in the round.
Yeah, late again. 1 minute 25 on the clock. This is going to be another tight affair as we get to the latter stages of this. Can KC give Exceed their first loss on Keeper so far this tournament, or will Exceed come back from the death and just be able to take us to a third and final round here? 1 minute 10, Exceed have control yet again. KC do get one on the board here, so this is going to be a 4 versus 3 push.
Yeah, Quanti, though, the key carrier, playing all the way over towards basement, has to help out on the fight right behind him as Malabuka had taken out 2, tries to get the nade out. Tough 1v1 that Quanti's not able to take, so KC instantly get the switch, and now again, we have to ask the question, can they hold it the majority of the way through?
Oh, and Nas trying to be sneaky. There's a lot of players without shields right now, so if you walk around a corner and find someone with shields, the likelihood is you're going to be going down. down and you will be eliminated. And you can see it's already happening on your screen as the key is kind of exchanging hands here. Exceed get control of it yet again.
Malabuka, double though for him. Gets fully healthy, and then Anas from the pinch is able to find the last couple. So here we go. 95 plays 118. Time on the clock is tight, but it should still be doable. Only by a margin of 2 seconds. Peterbot has Malabuka down to 2 HP. Shield bubble comes through. Malabuka takes the challenge. He hasn't gotten the regen yet, though. Is there enough time to allow Exceed to win? The math is close, but it looks like they're very well maybe one more tick for KC. Exceed trying to drop it again. Last 2 seconds. Can they get to 118? Tie game?
Tie game! I think the players are just as confused as we are at this point, but now Casey are celebrating. Maybe it did tick over to 119. You can see Mustache happy with what he's just seen. We'll wait for official confirmation, but it looks like they may have been good, which is back-to-back games where they come back. Because they were holding as it went over to 118, they will win the round, and they will win the game, giving Exceed their first loss on Keeper.
Are you kidding me? A 1-point round one with just enough time on the clock to get the edge, and then to make matters even more tense, how about a tie game that because you're holding the key, you take the edge? I mean, you legitimately couldn't say that is more last second than that. And then what a bounce back map from Karmine.
What I loved from KC there, in those final moments, when you are being pressured, when you know you cannot afford to make a mistake, they bunched up. As soon as that key holder is about to go down, there was another member from KC just almost cuddling them, saying, don't worry, if you go down, that key will be mine. And then the perfect use of the bubble as well to make it so difficult to be able to go down and make sure that someone can grab that key. It is a missed opportunity for Exceed. They probably should have won that, if I'm completely honest. That's 2 maps, 2 rounds that they threw away, but you have to give credit where it's due. In KC, they are the comeback kings, it would seem, on Keeper.
Dan, we're talking about 2 health points. If those 2 health points are not there, that key's on the ground for half a second longer. Exceed win round 2. I mean, are you not entertained? Come on. This is absolutely unreal stuff. And again, here's where I really start to worry a little bit about Exceed. They have to be thinking, again, you heard it from all the interviews, we're 4-0ing. These guys aren't any good. Now all of a sudden you've lost your best mode in dramatic fashion, and candidly speaking, this Exceed team is prone to losing composure. We've heard it before. Coming from Peter first and foremost.
Yeah, I think if you're the coach here, or if you're just anyone who is close to being a leader, you have to say, all right, we had won that game. That game was won, we had it in our hands, we got overconfident, and we threw it away. I will go back to it. I still don't think you should allow the comeback mechanic to happen. I still think you should be dropping the key and just having the advantage, especially in a semi-final where you know your opposition is going to be good enough to come back in the game.
But here is that final moment that we saw. Okus hard focused in on Swizzy, who was at legitimately 2 HP, but Mustache going absolute God mode as it ticks to 118, and you can see Swizzy up top in the corner, still holding on to the key. That's what gives them the edge and the win based on the format of the mode. So Karmine Corp able to survive, and I say that very selectively because otherwise we could be looking at an 0-3, but instead now the series starts to open itself back up again because they were able to do what they needed to, which is win a keeper.
And that's going to do so much in terms of confidence for KC as well, right?
Oh, big time.
We talk about Exceed on the other side, you know, how will this affect their mental game? They were very confident they were going to win, but for KC, this could be their ticket back into the series. Now, while the players get ready back on stage, we'll go for a quick break, but when we come back, we've got more action at EWC featuring Fortnite.
All you. 100. Dead.
Nice. Another one milk. Weak, dead.
Back to milk. 84 mid, 84.
Back to milk. Get on point. Statue.
Get on. We need to get
Go next.
Go next up.
I'm on next.
I'm on it as well. I'm on it.
Play statue.
Peter, push out. Peter, push out. Push out. They're still full pushing me.
Dead.
Nice.
We won.
1 HP mid. Dead.
Nice.
It's too easy.
Come on, bro.
Go, bro.
Come on, Peter.
Welcome back to the Amazon Arena, where we are currently live with Karmine Corp going up against Exceed, and it is a tense matchup. But one of the beautiful things about this event is that we have family members flying halfway across the world to support their sons and their brothers. Because I've got Anas's mom, dad, and sister stood here with me, so I'm going to very quickly ask you some questions. Abu Anas, you're a staple in all of the Fortnite competitive events that you go to. Everyone loves you. How does this event stack up against some of the others you've been to?
It's a lot more intense because you are so close to the players, and you get a lot of stress when you're watching it.
Maya, what would you like to say? If you could say anything to Anas before he comes out onto the stage, throughout this match, to give him some support, what would you say to him?
I would say we believe in you and good luck.
Katya, everyone's dream at the moment is to become a pro player in gaming. It's such a huge thing right now. Have you always been really supportive of Anas's dream to become a pro player?
Yeah, I think so. He's always told me since he was little that he wanted to be a pro gamer, and yeah, we support him all the way.
I absolutely love that you guys are here supporting his dreams and supporting him, because it's great to see everyone giving all of this support, and I'm sure he's very appreciative of it. Thank you so much. But for now, we're going to go back to you guys. Sorry, what was that?
And a win, a win.
And a win to get into the Championship Sunday Finals. Back to you guys.
Back on as Anas and the rest of Karmine Corp try to turn up in front of the family and friends that have joined them from legitimately across the world. As Karmine Corp, like we said, they needed to pop off in the keeper in. Well, Dan, I don't know if we're going to get another keeper quite like that one, and that's fine by me because my heart can't take it.
I'm not sure Exceed will want to go into another keeper. I think this is going to annoy the Exceed boys, and they will want to try and close this one out 4-1 before we even get as far as another keeper in this best of 7. But this is definitely Casey's ticket back into the series,
yes,
as Exceed gave them a ticket back into that keeper. I don't think it's going to harm them in the overall. I still think Exceed come into this as the favorites, even looking at the other mapper modes, because we haven't even touched Chalet, Capture the Flag, or Hardpoint yet, which I would still favor Exceed in.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. And for what it's worth, yes, we're going to get another similar slowly kind of laborious startup here, I think, for how this Chalet starts. But there is a much more clear favored side on this map. And I think both teams are going to be very aware that when you spawn from the more advantageous side, you have to find ways to start to get some pulls, start to get some scores. So expect there to, again, be that kind of determination and delineation between how much risk versus how much reward are we going to see. But I think there will be a little bit of onus on the team able to find themselves in that kind of more powerful side, whether you start on it for the first half or if you swap to it eventually in the second.
I think it would be really good to get an early listen in, if possible, with Exceed, because I'd love to know, like, how they are feeling after that one. Are they down on themselves a little bit? Is there a lack of confidence? Is there a little bit of anger floating throughout the team? Because if there is, that genuinely could be enough for KC to get back into this series.
Yep.
Because how many times historically have you seen that throughout esports? All it takes is one loss that you think you should have won, and everyone starts to crumble with $1 million on the line. You know full well people can just lose full. So we'll have to see how Exceed respond here going into another CTF, and it's Chalet.
And for Exceed, they will be spawning on the quote-unquote unfavored side. We've seen the blue side score more than the red so far. So expect to see KC possibly looking to play with a little bit more aggression here from that top right side of the map. We'll find out. And I think you're absolutely right. What does the composure look like here for Exceed? Because we've heard it from Peter in particular. If he starts to get overwhelmed by just straight focus from KC, he's very quick to kind of, you know, lose his mind in the comms. We heard that from yesterday.
And sometimes when you take a loss as well, you try and do too much as an individual to try and make up for it as well. If you think you're even entirely responsible or even partly responsible, you may do so. Let's jump into an Exceed listening though and see how they're feeling after that loss.
I think they'd like to run tunnel. All right. Let's line up.
I hear one white truck half.
They're running it down. They're running it down on me. I'm dead.
They're going for flag. They're going for flag.
Flag insta. I'm going to be up.
Behind our house. Behind our house.
I'm fine.
Side me.
I reset it.
Nice. Okay,
Two front window. Two front window. Two front window.
Bro. I need to know, bro. I don't know anything. Sniper behind our Lambo. Sniper behind our Lambo. I'm not dynamite him. Yep.
On window.
You did body block, bro. Like.
I'm nady pillar. He's there.
Yeah, I see him.
30, crack. Run it down. Black Jeep, ready? 3, 2, 1, go.
What is him?
Window, watch window, watch window.
I'm going window. Watch tunnel or back house. He could alert. He could alert.
Kill pull.
Someone say low
There's
key back.
three pull.
50 away, 50 away, 50 away.
Three pull.
Cat, two cat.
Not gonna lie, there's some of that frustration that we were talking about. What are we common? Where am I looking? Where are they? A little bit of that starting to come through early here for Exceed as Karmine Corp have absolutely put the pressure on for what could be very much so a second at least touch of the flag.
Yeah, they can go one of two ways. When you confront a player about not communicating, they can even start to communicate less because it will just annoy them if they think they have been communicating enough. And I think a lot of that target seems to be on Peterbot for not coming enough in these games. But now you can see in that pip, in his player cam, he is starting to scream a little bit, and that's what Exceed need. They need Peter at the top of his game and calming everything he sees.
This stop is everything for Exceed. And you kind of heard it in the middle of the comms that Okus was able to actually secure the recapture before Karmine Corp could get out of dodge. So a very early onset set of pressure coming through for KC. Pushed back as now Exceed trying to make their first move up the map. A little bit of uncertainty, though, in terms of where KC are at the moment. You also heard them say, like, hey, I think they like to go tunnel, so I don't even know if the prep was fully done here for Exceed to know exactly what KC like to do, but they sure have, at least for now, figured it out.
I mean, I think we know that Exceed came into this arguably overly confident, so maybe that prep wasn't there on the side against KC, and perhaps they were already thinking about X-Set as Mustache gets another one. It's 2 on that elimination feed, and it is going to be Exceed having to try and rescue something off of spawn here. The good news is they did go down on the opposition side, so it's not too detrimental.
And Quanti, who just kind of held over towards Cave, can just freely wrap in towards mid as KC are trying to once again play over through tunnel side. Quanti holding on to one, Exceed off spawn, holding on to the other. And for the rest of KC, they need more than just an awesome Malabuka making a play. Although Murstach and Swizzy, I think, are counting numbers. I think they know that they haven't seen Quanti yet, and they're very aware that he could try to sneak through.
And as you mentioned, this side not as favorable, certainly from the statistics of how many flag captures, So Exceed are going to be happy to play this one patient and force KC to try and do something on this side.
They're going to bully them out here. Numbers coming through 3v2 situation, and Exceed will find 3 straight elims. That's including Quanti, who takes care of Swizz through cave side. So not only do they move the middle map quickly, they've also established threat over towards the houses. Quanti and Peterbot, the next battleground, being right up on top of the roofs. KC coming off spawn, a bit split. 2 on one side, 2 on the other. Malabuka and Anas responsible for the street.
KC just turtling up now, waiting for Exceed to step out so they can take this fight, but there has been a lot of chip damage actually done onto Exceed, so KC should be good for this defense. Malabuka gets the opener, and I wonder whether Exceed just back off from this one ever so slightly, but no, they are going to take the fight.
Yeah, Murstach has got a lot in front of him here. Nice opening shot, takes care of Peterbot. Quanti, full HP, full shields, trying to stay alive, seeing if he can do something himself. But no, not going to happen. Malabuka right there with Murstach to follow up. Minute 15 on the clock. KC making their next approach, or their maybe even final offensive attempt.
And at the moment, Exceed probably thinking this is job done right now for this half. We have stopped KC from being able to get a pull. We've stopped them from being able to get anywhere, really, with our flag. And we've only got to hold on for 1 more minute before we go on to arguably the more favorable side. But you mentioned it, one last push for KC. They have taken a little bit of damage. Mustache is very low, but could get the elimination. But no, it's going to be Okus getting 2. And now if they're quick enough here, there could be a pull.
Keep an eye on the minimap. Where does KC spawn? They should spawn down towards cave side. Swizz will get into the building. Murstach right behind him. So it's going to be a 2v2. Quant's able to find at least a pull. They also deal with Murstach, and they know Swizz is playing up top. This is an opportunity. Swizz trying to hold on best he can. Okus forces the fight. He's able to get through. Now the next line of defense. Can they deal with Anas, who's trying to play through cave side? The EMP is good. Quanti drops, but Okus is still up. He's going to get the touch and the return. Help is here. Murstach trying to follow. First shot is good. Okus, though, is out of there. Can anyone else touch? We're looking at Swizzy through mid. Can he find any nades to land? Oh, my goodness. Quanti picks it up. Last second, he gets the capture before the round ends.
What a cap that was from Exceed. How many times have we spoke about those back-to-back chaining the flags, having someone to pick it up when you go down? Quanti started the run, died, and then finishes the run as well, well aware of where that flag's going to be moving to. And now Exceed will have a flag capture going into the second half here of Chalet capture the flag. And all it took was being patient, waiting for KC to overstep, getting those elims, and then pushing for the flag cap, but not. They didn't try and just bring it back down tunnel.
Yeah.
They actually pushed into the spawners. They took the fight against KC.
I think this is one of those situations because there was only 2 members for Exceed playing for the pull. They knew that going through tunnel, KC was still going to spawn up towards the north side, and they were going to get in a lane to possibly shut them down, so they take their chances towards Cave, and it really just results in a 1v1 between the flag carriers. Whoa. Hold on to your horses there, friends. 4.5 minutes to go, and now KC, like you mentioned, is spawning on that quote-unquote unfavored side. They are the ones that have to make the first move.
At what point do we just call it the unfavored side rather than the quote-unquote unfavored side, right?
Well, maybe today.
maybe today. I think we've got enough statistical evidence by this point. But I think as the meta continues to develop, we are seeing more and more different things happen on these maps and modes as Mustache gets the opener onto Quanti. And now this could be a chance for KC to push in, but that is a great defensive hold from Okis. Those eliminations are massive because it just stems the push.
Yeah, 1 for 1 is good, and then of course the information that there's no more shields left on their Mustache. And so now all of a sudden Exceed can start to play forward. They get the ISO on towards Swizzy, and the angle now for Peterbot to try to dominate mid with the scope. I think they also know that, Malibu is playing in towards tunnel. That'll be the next target that Exceed are trying to deal with.
Still a lot of time for KC to work with, but they'll know that Exceed are going to be more than happy to sit back and absorb this pressure. And again, it's Okis just waiting in the wings as the Juggernaut to join the fray and join the attack. Swizzy, though, happy to take that fight, does have assists to work with as well. Now they're going to be able to own the middle of the map.
Yep.
But they need to find a way into this base, and that's the problem. You can see Anas has just gone down as well. Exceed just have their number.
Yeah, Cave is completely taken over. Quanti now trying to follow up on a bit of a pinch. Help here from Milks and Peterbot. Swizzy able to find one. If he can get a second, that'd be a miracle, and at least he gets a little bit of damage out, but it's not enough to stop Exceed, who are now looking for their second pull, and it very well may result into a capture with 3 members still here. KC still coming off spawn.
Oh, how about that angle from Peter as well? Almost gets the shot onto Anas, but Anas will hold strong to shut down Peterbot and keep this alive for KC. They are able to stop the push, and now they can think about one of their own.
Yeah, Milk's trying to follow up through tunnel side, knows he's going to have another contestant nearby. Bubble out, Swizz, trying to challenge him, and it's going to be a little messy through tunnel, but Swizz able to find the win. Quanti making a play from the other side of the map, though, does force him to track back, so it'd really just be repositioned through mid here for KC.
Exceed holding again. Peterbot's going to be getting aggressive over towards tunnel to try and find the remaining pieces, and does! I thought he was going to be able to hit that. So close, Mustache, only a slither of HP left, and will get shut down by the remaining grenades. Now, Exceed have held strong. KC going to have to wait for spawners here. They can't just be running in one by one. As I say that, and Anas falls as well.
Yeah, tough situation for KC. I mean, that was probably their best look so far from this half. You've got 2 players at tunnel, one of them being your infiltrator. Maybe you could find one elim and turn that into a quick pull, but doesn't really fully happen. And now you've got Exceed making their next move. Swizz in trouble through mid-streets. Trying to dance in and out of the bubble, not going to work out. Milks will throw one of his own. An opportunity for pull here for Peter. Anna stepping on in. It's a full-on battle now. Labuka trying to save the day. Not quite able to. Swizzy coming off the cross. Shots are out, but he can't find the elim. Nade up and over the top. Trying to find Milks. You also got Mustache holding towards Cave side, but the patience for Exceed is brilliant. Milks finds the final shots, and that should be a second capture unless Anas can get an 8 over the top.
And that's trying.
Oh!
Does manage to get the first elim, but there is going to be the trade-off here. Okis picks up the remaining pieces and will send the second flag home as Exceed take a 2-0 lead with only 1 minute and 20 left on the clock here. KC looking down, looking out.
They need a counter pull right here, right now. Malibuka's got the rooftops. Swizzy also here with them. Help is on the way. Okis has been so big for Exceed defensively. Can he provide once again? 1v1 with Mustache. Put him to bed. Okis, brilliant double, and now it's down to 60 seconds.
Okis has just been everywhere at the moment, and being on that Juggernaut as well has such an advantage via those shields as Anas tries to be a little bit sneaky, knows he has to do something, does get a touch, but a touch is not good enough as Exceed now with only 45 seconds probably know this should be good.
Yeah, KC though are flooding through tunnel side. The problem is this corner that Exceed are holding is just too strong. Great EMP coming through, but the pull is here. Quanti trying to hold, not quite able to, but the help is nearby. Quick spawns for Exceed, keep the flag at home.
Keeps it at home, and 30 seconds is not enough time to get 2 flags back to back, sadly, for KC. And it's been the perfect game plan from Exceed. Be very patient on the initial half, and then just show a little bit of presence in that second half. And now KC are going to be 3-1 down in this series, and Exceed 1 round away, 1 map away from taking this entire semi-final and marching on to the grand finals.
I can't lie though, the lifeline that comes out of Okis on the first round defense when KC are putting the pressure on immediately upon spawning in that may have been the hero moment, because if Exceed lose that pull and KC score first, you really worry about the composure for Exceed. But now it's back to the winning ways. Like you mentioned, 3-1 up with both CTFs going their way. That is more than enough, you would think, for win condition on the series. A lot to do here for Karmine Corp.
They need 3 on the bounce to KC, but it is a great response from Exceed, especially after losing a map in mode where they probably should have got the victory, and they lost it in such really a crazy fashion as well, with it only being seconds. But we can now look to see what happened at the end of that first flag capture and see how they were coming in all of it.
Two rocks, just 2 rocks. They traded out. I need help, I need help, I need help.
Come in.
EMP and Mocus.
What is B?
EMP, push him, push him.
Dead, last one. Dead, go,
Get the flag, get the flag, get the flag, go. I'm on you, Mocus, I'm on you, man. Nice. 100, I got it just right, I got it just right.
I'm gonna make it.
Help him. You're not one shot to dynamite, you're good, you're not one shot to dynamite.
G-Wagon.
I'm dead.
Can you grab it? I got it.
100.
I got it. Let's go, baby.
Nice, bro.
Good shit.
I just like 1v4'd them, bro. Oh my god, good stuff.
Good shit, bro. Let's go, baby. So good straight, bro.
There's that air of confidence once again. Oka saying, bro, I pretty much just 1v4'd him. So, again, that individual presence is still keeping Exceed a touch ahead of the pace that KC can put together.
Yeah, I think that Exceed, they needed just something to bring them back to life after that loss. And when we went to the listening right at the start of this game, you know, there was a couple of questions being asked, like, I want to hear the comms, why are we quiet? And I think just having someone confident enough to say that to anyone who's being quiet just made them refocus, regain a little bit, and they just looked more like themselves.
Yeah, absolutely the case. And I think that's the biggest thing about it is Exceed playing under their terms is a very dangerous squad. The thing about it, and I hate to harp on it, I hate to kind of, beat the dead horse here, but anytime that you see Exceed kind of get thwarted from their game plan and you start to see their opponents taking control, they lose, it feels like, that 4-man focus so darn quickly. And it does, I think, provide a pathway for KC to get back into this game. Start to establish your game. Come back out of the CTF, do what you've done in Hardpoint throughout this tournament, especially considering that you're going to a Chalet where you win one unexpected hill, that can put things right back into your grips again. They just need to get their gameplay going so they're not just responding and playing retroactively to what Exceed are doing.
My only worry, right, is we going into Chalet Hardpoint, and I'll say it again. If they are red side Exceed, we haven't seen a team lose, I don't think, from red side on Chalet Hardpoint because of the advantages you get with where those hills are. But there's always a chance to change history, right? There's always a chance to be the very first, and if KC are to come back into this series, they need something like that to give them life.
And I think the thing about it is you have to essentially maybe even handshake 60s between P2, P3, and then everything is determined in my mind of what happens on the 4th hill, the one that kind of just lives just barely inside of the tunnel. That's, I think, the biggest ask here. So we'll see what happens. KC will be spawning on the red side, so we may not have gotten the full information. Maybe we just misread it because, let's be honest, we're not the brightest bulbs in the box. So now all of a sudden Exceed kind of have a little bit of a pressure point.
Okay, so KC on the red side, then series on, I would say.
I agree.
But if we are going to see anyone kind of change how things go here, and if we are going to see someone win it from the blue side, I think Exceed are going to give this a blooming good shot.
A blooming... What does that even mean?
Hey, you said something about Hannah.
Holy Hannah.
Holy Hannah. I can say blummin'. Never heard blummin'?
Never heard blummin'.
Okay, well, there you go.
I remember one of the first times I heard someone say it's a whole different kettle of fish.
Yeah.
It's like, what does that even mean? You're just saying words. It doesn't even compute. You crazy Brits. Let's get into the action. Straight over towards the pool for P1. KC will get here first. Bubble down initially as Exceed will try to just kind of wrap. And I mean wrap. Quanti's all the way back over towards KC's house. So now you've got all the utility coming through, plus the dive on in. That is impressive in terms of how you break up an opening setup.
1, 2, 3. Mustache could be the 4th. Does get one to trade out, but Peter Pot is there to clean up the pieces. And it is going to be Exceed scoring here. Quanti's taking a lot of damage, but is going to be in a position where he can just dance around these boxes and wait for help.
Yep, and be the case. And I think if you're Exceed, knowing that you're going over towards the P2 side, I really want to see them control this mid-street more than anything else, especially as they try to come back off spawn again here. They will be spawning over towards the P3 side, though. And, ooh, this is a bit staggered right now from Exceed. KC taking advantage of the opportunities given. Quanti in trouble. And the opening time continues just to get tallied up over and over again for KC.
Good damage, good angles that is being taken from Exceed, but KC holds strong and are going to be able to now get all that time that remains in P1 as we move over. to P2. Anyone there already? And that's just going to be quite late here. KC took a while to get here, considering this is one of their hills, and that will open up a push for Exceed now on this right-hand side of the screen.
Peterbot over the top of the truck. Good angle for him, but Mustache, ooh, dancing with the devil, and he comes out on top. A little tango for two. And he might not be done yet. Finally, Quanti able to shut him down. Okas following up as the EMP destroys the offensive bubble. And KC's close spawns on the way back through will get them control. But keep your eye on Peterbot. He's playing over to the middle of the map, trying to sneak in, but again, just doesn't fully wait for help. Quanti now left the lines lonesome.
Quanti is able to get into this hill just when KC thought they were going to be able to set up. There's just another player. Exceed are relentless with their pushes right now. And I don't hate it because there is some staggered spawns. They are able to stop this chunk of time from KC. When it could have been a solid setup, it has not been one. It has been broken over and over again.
Okas is actually not going to join the battle here for the scrap time. He's already rotating bottom right-hand side of the minimap. So he's going to be there for the initial, but I won't lie, I would have loved to have seen him try to zone off the rotation a little bit because his teammates spawn right next to him in the house. So weird moment here. Okas able to at least find some damage towards the KC offense from the front. So again, damage tally leads to some comfortable time to open.
Well, and Nash just came from the other spawn as well. He was waiting. He wanted to pinch here and has just been able to shut down members in that middle. Now Exceed do have a real chance to put some time on the board. KC do get through though, and Mustache now holds this hill, and Quanti's fallen, and things have really opened up for KC.
Yeah, really messy from Exceed here in this opener. I'm not going to lie to you, just timings-wise, they have not really hit much together, whereas KC have. Finally, they counteract the point, though, as off spawn, they will re-flood back through. But honestly speaking, for Karmine Corp, you were able to contest the better half of this hill. That's great news. So with the last 20 seconds still to fight for, this will be the last approach for KC. I expect that the next player off spawn will try to make a move over towards 4, but for the time being, KC again making a mess of this setup from Exceed.
It is going to be Peterbot and Quanti heading over towards P4 in tunnel. KC are going to be spawning all the way over towards the initial red spawn. So Exceed will get the first chance to put points on the board here, but setting up isn't the easiest, right? Because you can get pushed from multiple angles, but it's whether KC will go for a split push or whether they just send themselves like lemmings.
KC spawning on the left side of the map still. Exceed holding on to the hard point for now. Peterbot a little bit under pressure, but for the most part, Exceed have dealt with it. We'll get a lead swap here as KC now start to make a play through boxes. Love this hit because you can quickly wrap around the back, whereas Exceed are going to spawn all the way back over towards B3. Clean opener here for KC, but the predictive EMP is really good from Exceed. Can they take advantage of it? Too many members to deal with. Okas trying to hold on, but he will be the last one left against 2 KC members. And once again, I would just like to see Okas hold on for an extra second.
Well, Exceed do have the closest spawn, so they will get a chance to push this one. Good bubble to keep you alive, but the EMP comes through to just shut that one down, and now Exceed will continue their push. And there is still 15 points available in this hill, so there is a good amount of time still left, but now you need to be thinking about P5.
And the thing about it is that's a clean feed for the side of Exceed, so now they can actually take an extra step forward to challenge this contest over towards the 5th hill. KC are spawning in their building here just off to the right of Okas, but Exceed have some good tunnel control. Problem is they don't have any shields, so they're going to have to win a couple of really tough gunfights. And whoa, wait a second, they're starting to put it together. Milks and Quanti stay alive. Now it's just down to Quanti onto the hill. Peterbot trying to get here to assist, and Exceed will continue to win time here on the 5th hill.
That's how you play P4 to P5. We've seen so many teams get stuck into tunnel, but they force themselves out. Even on low shields, they full sent it onto the car to make KC work for P5 here, and KC still having to fight tooth and nail to try and get control, and they still haven't got it because Milks arrives. 10 elims on the board. Exceed still scoring.
I love this from Exceed, just kind of looking at the map. You're going to get one player always spawning and hitting mid. It's keeping KC from actually able to concentratedly get back into this hard point. So now you've got reinforcements freely coming through tunnel. Milks has stayed alive for an eternity, and that's going to be a P1 rotation win for Exceed, even though they really didn't do a great job on their own hill on 3.
Exceed setting up in pool for P1. They are being surrounded by KC. Actually, looking to hit from the east and the west here. You can see they're pushing in. Swizzy doing a lot of damage, but are they going to be able to get these elims? Yes, they will. 3 back-to-back in the feed, and there's just one player left for Exceed to try and stay alive.
And you just have to hold for just a second here. Wait for your teammates to come on over. Peterbot trying to be the first one forward. Swizzy getting the better of him. Anas over the top, able to find another. And KC again push off the Exceed hit. This is key time for Karmine here on P1.
But I think what's important for Exceed is they did win that opening round of Hardpoints. And if they can replicate that here in the second round, then it might just be them marching on towards the grand finals. Remember, it's do or die here for KC. They have to win this game, otherwise they'll be heading home.
And again, 20 seconds before we rotate over to the second hill, which does favor KC. Peter, good patience, comes on in, finds the opener. Nice snap over for a second, and Peter's gonna find 3. So it's gonna be a flip of the hill here for Exceed, but Karmine Corp are gonna be under pressure as we head back to 2. Perfect time to listen in to see how Karmine Corp are coming.
White truck, 1 HP.
Okay. Too long. Yeah, in house. Only one on one. Too long.
60 white.
Behind you. Back. 2 now.
1 HP. Dead.
Nice.
White truck is low. One dead. Nice. I hold that. Yeah. Only yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm calling mid.
Anas, go to soul.
Yeah, 3 mid.
Możesz zbliżać, ja ci pomogę.
One long, one dynamite. Go back. One long.
Link.
Keep pushing. Yeah. Oh, house.
50.
He's on side. On Lambo.
I'm dead. I'm dead too. Okay, it's fine. Push it.
Yeah. Oh, there is still one more on house. 1 HP. Nice, on stairs.
I'm pushing him.
Yeah.
Dead.
Nice.
I can your side.
One all the way back. All the way in the back. No.
He's staying close. House. Dead.
Nice.
Well, pressure starting to amount here off the rotation from 1 to 2. KC lose control of their house. You hear them commenting on how important that position is, and Okus is on a tear, holding this back spawn position. He has locked up all of P2 for Exceed, who can now freely rotate back over to fire.
This is not looking good for KC. Exceed now move over to P3. This is their hill. They have the lead, and they have the pinch here, because KC are pushing in, and Exceed off spawn should be able to shut them down.
But the thing about it is Exceed have lost this hard point the first time by not putting good focus through their own house. And KC use that as a linchpin to kind of get their way back forward once again. 202, 194, Exceed able to win out the eliminations once again. Now in a spot to potentially just put this game out of reach. KC from the front need to find the eliminations, and they currently are providing it. Milks is the last one left. He's on 1 HP. Murstach is going to push forward. They find the Elim, and Karmine Corp in position to try to lock in the last 20.
One thing we know, KC do love a good comeback and love getting back into games, so it's still not over yet. KC have this P3, will hold on to this push again. Murstach gets the opener. Exceed start to push in. Quanti doing damage, and he can get, and that stays alive. That's massive for KC.
Malabuka by himself needs to hit the shots. In trouble, backs up over towards boxes, valuing his life. Exceed fully healthy though. 2 members in. Murstach, Malabuka both gonna drop, and now Exceed just need to deal with the pinch from behind, and Anas dealing damage. Malabuka with them, but the trades favor Exceed for now. 220, 218. KC from the front able to contest.
Well, this is a big fight. Can he take down Peterbot? He actually backs off because the nades are good, and now the contest will happen. KC still scoring temporarily, but now Exceed are gonna flood it.
Exceed have to find a way to break this. Quanti try to hit a pinch. He gets shut down. Milk's also taking a lot of damage, but here comes Okus. 1v2. How about Okus? Him with Quanti able to clean things up. 25 seconds on the clock, and I don't think they get the last tick. We're going to have to go to 5.
We'll have to go to 5, which does favor KC, but remember last time Exceed, they full sent it onto that truck to make sure they could hold it and pressure KC right away. But KC say, hey, we'll have some time here. We're going to actually dive into this tunnel, but does this open up a rotation for Exceed off spawn?
Hard to say because Milks was trying to play for 5 early. He has to come back to deal with the old time. Malabuka's going to be set up first. Looking for Okus. Mid-map, top of your screen. Trying to hit a pitch. Murstach taking a whale of damage. Okus does fall. Quanti has the door open for you to jump in. Not going to happen. Karmine Corp do enough to see another map.
And the red side holds strong yet again here on Chalet Hardpoint. Exceed came close, but they cannot quite get over the finish line, quite literally, as we head into now a map 6, and it will be Keeper again. And remember what happened last time on Keeper. It is not guaranteed here for Exceed. KC are making a series of this, and they are putting on a show.
Wow, what a finish. And it's just, again, what we're starting to see, and just believe me, you friends that are out there watching, flat out, teams are getting a lot better at breaking hills. Without question. KC's understanding on how to attack that fire pit P3 is exquisite. Winning over Exceed's house, knowing that they're forcing them to spawn above the hill. And then the players inside the hard point can just pop up and watch them come down that back snow path. And the eliminations that come through because of it, I think that's the difference maker. How good KC were at attacking the third hard point, not once but twice. Win conditions for them here.
So KC holds strong and will win red side of Chalet Hardpoint. And now that means they get another stab at Keeper. And I wonder if Exceed will have learned any lessons from what we saw earlier in Keeper, because realistically, if Exceed were to replicate exactly what they did in that initial Keeper, bar 1 or 2 small mistakes, they would have already won this series, right?
It's not even just 1 or 2 mistakes. You can just label that as 1 or 2 seconds.
It's 1-2 seconds. I will label it down to 1 mistake, and again, I'm not going to harp onto it, but
Harp it.
I really think that you can't allow the comeback mechanic to come into the equation. But maybe we'll see later on as we get into this next Keeper. They change their mind on how they want to approach that one. But right now, I think that, you know, Exceed, because they've been so close to winning this series, again, what's the mentality going to be like?
Yep.
Is the comms going to suddenly be a little bit more frustrated? And for KC, that belief is suddenly right back there.
More importantly, off the fact that you were able to win the first Keeper, so you know you can do it. It's the same map. Nothing changes. You're just going to go play it again. So I'd say outside of maybe the first half of each round, KC doesn't have to worry too much in terms of trying to change too much. I think it's just, what are we going to do off our break-off? Because right now, Exceed's break-off towards grabbing the key early, earning early time, rather, has been exquisite. I mean, they're coming away first pull with 60-plus points. It's been great in terms of efficiency, maybe outside of the fact that they go up by too much and that comeback mechanic comes through. So I think if you're Karmine Corp, that's the only thing you need to worry about. First half of these rounds. Otherwise, your comeback ability has been great, whether it's mechanic giving you a little bit of help or not.
Well, one of those keys will be crushed. But is it going to go to a map 7 here, or will it be crushed after this Keeper game? For Exceed, the biggest mistake they made in their eyes was lack of communication on that map 3.
Yep.
If they up the ante a little bit, if they start to communicate better, let people know where they're getting pushed from, where that key might be, will they have a more confident and comfortable time going into this map 6 as we get Keeper yet again? I love Keeper, by the way.
I'm here for it.
I'm also big fans of going into listening and hear, hey, where's the ball? It's not a ball, it's a key. But from where I'm from, right, it is a ball. So I like that.
Old habits die hard, my friend. Old habits die hard. Well, turning up and looking at the spawns for this opening round of Keeper, it'll be Exceed spawning on the basement side, Karmine Corp spawning over towards the tower side. And the only reason that I really bring that up is the fact that we had seen in the first 2 days, Exceed had found a lot of value holding the key towards tower side. They hadn't really defaulted to playing in the basement like a lot of other teams kind of had. So when they eventually swapped the sides around, will they try to go back towards that, as Peter gives us some mojo here?
But when Peter was spoken to in an interview and asked, you know, what do you think about kind of setting over towards tower, over towards basement, his reply was, doesn't really bother me. I just try and make sure I get the eliminations on board, right? So I don't know how much Exceed think about their setups, more just taking down the opposition in emphatic fashion.
A brilliant counter here from KC. It's the same break off for Exceed. Bubble down early, see if Quanti can sneak forward, get the key and get back. This time KC focus all of their efforts at their utility right towards the front doors. So nothing gonna happen yet. No one's been able to grab the key to this moment. Exceed able to come off of a little bit more of a proximal respawn. They're able to come back in healthier, and that'll be the second attempt that gets Fields the key.
Give my man Quanti the key and let him go off yet again. But then just make sure he drops it when they start to go too far ahead. Exceed are going to have the key for now, but Swizzy looking to try and find an angle. And that grenade could do a lot of damage, but just misses.
It's so hard to land your utility on this back platform. But KC are doing it the old-fashioned way. Vanilla gunfights turn out in favor of KC. 3-2 eliminations. Peterbot has to try to do it himself. And he seems to want to make a go for it. Anas is stuck. And, I mean, literally, he's stuck. Oh, wow. He was stuck between a rock and a hard place, and then he gets a clinger hit onto his right elbow. And Peter, playing very patiently, follows up, finds the key, and will hand it off to his teammate.
Well, you talk about how hard it is to hit utility. Maybe it's not about the grenades, it's about the clingers instead, because you can just stick it right to their forehead. As Peterbot still alive for now, as he sees the rest of the team find the eliminations, and now Exceed starting to score heavily.
That same opener, like I was telling you, Dan, they get to 60, it feels like almost every single time before we get to the halfway point. Verstappen a little bit of trouble finishing things off here over towards the side, tries to play with elevation, but Exceed, for a moment we're winning out in the eliminations, but a follow-up from Malabuka and Anas, that's enough to change hands early here with the key. EMP also lands for Anas, who just tries to play a little bit of info gathering here at top tower.
Yeah, there's a lot of information to be gained from that position, but you also need to recognize when you're not gaining any info and have to join your team. Otherwise, you're going to be leaving them in a 3 versus 4, and you'll arrive a little bit too late if they've not done the damage that you can clean up. As Malibuka will still be holding this key as the marksman. Again, it's another play I really enjoy on Keeper here because you can do so much damage with that sniper rifle, but now Quanti gets the opener. Good
crossfire setup. Swizzy able to come through for the trade, but similarly so, he's taken down by Peter. So numbers advantage right now for Exceed. KC spawning a little bit all over the map, but Merstach holds on. Malibuka creating time and space for his spawners to come through and help. Merstach still up. Anas will drop. Swizzy holding the backside corner. Malibuka off to the regen. Could try to fight this. Is Quanti able to find one, but Malibuka hits the snipe topside bubble, and Karmine Corp will extend their lead now close to 70 total points.
Exceed seem to struggle most when the key is in a central area, and they kind of sending it from every single angle, and it's just 1v1 after 1v1, and KC have been on top of them. When it gets a little bit frantic, Exceed seem to struggle. They almost prefer a little bit more of a structured style of gameplay, and KC have been ripping that away from them.
Yeah, Merstach is not allowing it to happen. Him and Malibuka both really coming to life here. Quanti in trouble, dealt with very rapidly. And now we're going to get a basement play for Karmine Corp. 75 to 67. KC winning out in the eliminations. Where will Exceed spawn? Right bottom middle. Oh, and Swizzy spawns in Narnia. He's going to be outside the play here. A 4v3 opportunity for Exceed, but Malibuka hits another snipe. Exceed trying to play through the bubble. First shots on the boxes. Not quite able to find the elims that they need. Peter, though, is not able to track up the timing from Swizzy off the off spawn, and Karmine are going to get above 100 points.
Karmine are going to take a good lead here with 1 minute 30 left on the clock, and they get the first, but it is going to be a big rush from Exceed to shut down that key holder and get some time of their own, but Peter just runs into nothing, and KC can now retreat away from this one with the key.
You can start to feel the frustration coming into play again for Exceed, trying to force fights. Malibuka getting his extra life, but Meelks will eventually confirm the trade. Minute 5 on the clock. Double the points. No, not fully. Here is Exceed. Are able to get at least 1 per second. Still plenty of time to make the comeback happen in their own right, but where do you choose to set up? Is that the question at the moment?
Aren't even going to be allowed to set up with the speed of which KC have been pushing in and how scrappy they've kept this game, but Meelks will hold and hold strong alongside the rest of Exceed now. Peterbot also finds one in the elimination feed, so now KC down with, they don't have the key, but they are up by 18, so Exceed just looking to try and catch this up.
Yeah, KC trying to wrap through Cliffside at the moment. Meelks getting a really solid read on it, though. He is getting so much health back, lots of damage tally, but Swizz able to find the elim. Now it's just down to chasing down the key carrier. Exceed have re-wrapped this on Quanti all the way back over towards this backside at basement, but he is by himself. Okus is trying to get here. He's going to be shut down by Merstach, though, so now it's just down to Quanti by himself, and he's going to re-wrap this back over as Exceed's lead has now become too much to mathematically come back. No chance for KC to get back into round number 1.
And it's just movement from Quanti again that really was able to put Exceed over the line there. Recognizing where he was being pushed from on that infiltrator, having the chance to move a little bit faster than everyone else. And Exceed will take a 1-0 lead and find themselves 1 round away from winning this thing. But they've been here before.
Yes, they have. And it's still, that was as tight as we've seen. Well, no, I lied. It's not as tight as we've seen.
Not quite.
The other ones were literally a tie in a 1-point round. But again, it got to a moment there where you thought Karmine was doing enough. Exceed, once again, that opening break-off so hard to deal with. It's just Quanti's so damn fast. Follow-up elims, though, for KC are decent, but Quanti's already gotten himself into a little safe pocket.
I love just watching where Quanti tries to rotate this key to, just to avoid any enemies, but KC looking to try and find it, but again, it's Okus just making sure he wins all of his engagements, and Quanti listening to his teammates. The communication far better now, it would seem, here on Keeper. It's going to be a 25-point lead.
And that's a massive elim for Quanti to come out, find his teammates trade for free, because now he's got extra shields to run with.
Yep.
His teammates off spawn also reinforcing this top corner of the map, but KC able to find the crossfire setup through mid. Now it's just on to taking care of Peter, who does well to catch the first, but it's a pretty clean exchange as Karmine find a way to get back into the game.
That's a fantastic push from KC. Just sadly, they lost 1, which might open things up for Exceed to actually get a break of their own, especially if they find Mustache, but he gets the trade. That's going to be big for them. This could be good time if Peterbot loses, but still, somehow, dropping down through the hole, Peter still wins that fight. You don't see the engagement won by the person dropping very often.
Yeah, not at all. Peterbot spawning over as Quanti is rotating towards him. Nearby was Meelks. So Exceed finding themselves an opportunity to put some time on the board here, but the challenge is on. Pistol out for Quanti, shut down as the rest of KC start to light up the feed. One final elim for Okus, but Karmine have already gotten the key and swung this thing back around towards Cliff.
17 eliminations for Okus, 17 for Murstache as well on the other side for KC. He might find an 18th. No, he won't. He gets shut down. Milks will grab the key. And again, Exceed are scoring here. And this is when it starts to get a little bit dicey now for KC, because Exceed are just starting to run as a unit and are winning their fights.
And they're getting reads on the KC spawns. This whole player on the backside of Cliff has been read by Exceed. Okus at mid-map is holding a lot of it away. Milks try to gain some separation as Peter follows up. Verstappen able to find one, but it's not really that much. And, oh, interesting, Milks doesn't stay with his squad here. He, instead of tracking back towards the backside of Cliff, pushes forwards, and now KC will get a clean grab, and they've got space to work with here.
Yeah, he did a little bit of damage, but nothing that could really be followed up on, and now Anas can hold. You can see in the elimination feed as well, Peter's gone down, so that's going to be another player that can't really do anything. Quanti does answer back. KC need to try and hold strong, and at the moment looks good, and they will continue, again, to move this key to the center of the map or somewhere more central, which is just, again, scrappy game.
Big moment here. Verstappen tucked behind the door, able to win a 1v1 with Okus. So again, you've got KC holding towards his backside double doors on the Cliff. Peter following up with Milks, who really wants to play a little bit of recovery after his mistake from earlier. And he's done well to capitalize on this position from KC. Exceed, all 4 members survived through the action.
Both Milks and Quanti with this key have been fantastic, though, at just staying out of the way and making sure they allow the rest of the team to kind of go off whilst they move around the map and almost lure their enemy into the sightlines of their teammates, as Peter just dancing around the tree and gets the elimination. Quanti's there to follow up as well, and Exceed get the wipe, and now KC have to try and do something off spawn.
That's massive from Peter. I mean, flat out Exceed were surprised by the hit from Karmine Corp coming from that top side, the left side here from Quanti. But Peter finding one, extending his life, getting a second, massive. KC backs up against the wall. What do you got for us? Malibuka trying to do it all. He may have to by himself. Able to take down 2. But Quanti still very healthy and alive behind this tree. Problem is he doesn't have any teammates here with him, so he's got to stay alive a little while longer. Shield bubble in. Here comes KC for the regain, but Quanti finds an exit, and that might be enough separation for Exceed to still pick up the key.
KC, though, should be able to get the key hold here, and they will get the elimination there. And now it's going to be 108 left on the clock, and it is a 60-point difference. And they've got the comeback mechanic here, so this is still open. KC can still win this one.
They are digging into this deficit rapidly. Plus, the shots are starting to hit.
Whilst it was only a small comeback mechanic, it was enough to make this mathematically possible. And now Exceed need to make sure they recover this one, and Peter is trying to go for a push.
Malibuka, the current key carrier, trying to get back over towards the cliffside. Help is here. Swizzy on the pinch, able to come back through over mid. Okus takes the key out of the hands of Karmine Corp, though. Peter also following up behind this, but it's not enough to keep KC away. And the follow-up elim is good. 30 seconds on the clock. KC can do it again.
It has to be exactly the same scenario we saw previously. Can't afford to go down here. Here comes Exceed. They're starting to get a little bit desperate. They're starting to push in, but this time it's looking better as they shut down members of KC and will get the key and will take this series.
Oh, just about as tight as you'd like, but Exceed have done enough to stave off yet another KC comeback. And, well, it may have been messy at times, but Exceed is going to find the win and make their way into our first of our 2 grand finalists.
It certainly did not look easy at times, and I feel like maybe they made it hard for themselves in certain situations, but it will be Exceed marching on into that grand final and sending KC home, and they will be crushing their key. But how far can Exceed go?
Yep.
They now wait to see who they will be facing in that grand final. Of course, we've still got Exa and Heroic in the other semi, but it's smiles all round here for every single member on that team, even if it did look a little bit worrying at times.
Yeah, absolutely the case. And again, I think the one vulnerability that this team has is the overconfidence. And, you know, their composure can be tested. And when I say tested, I mean, sometimes it just completely gets foiled, but you know, you got to give a lot of credit to KC. A heck of a run for them. Trying to get revenge versus the team that had knocked them out of DreamHack Dallas. It was a lower final matchup between these 2 squads, but